with another one. Welcome back to my channel. Thank you for coming back. My name is Sophia. I'm here to tell you my story about my life and what has been happening in my life since, well, 2020 I'd say. But I'm led by my Father above, my Creator, to share this knowledge because it's really, really, really important to understand what is happening on this planet, and also the things that people do behind the scenes that you can't see. I am psychic, I'm a seer, I've got many clairs. This is something that I've actually really found out myself through this journey that I've gone through, tragic things taking place in my life. I have to share this because, as I say, it's some serious stuff that's really happened to me. And my last video that I did was pertaining to my housing situation when my property was taken and I became homeless. I am stable at the moment. It's been a trial and tribulations to get through. I'm going to tell you about a narcissistic relationship that I've come out of in 2022. I met this guy on Tagged, like a dating website, but not really a dating website per se. It's not one like Plenty of Fish or Tinder. It's slightly different, but I hadn't been on that site for a long time, since 2008. And I happened to go on it in 2018. I met him while I was in the process of selling my property. We started communicating, and everything seemed okay. We was conversing fine. He came across as a decent fella. We spoke for like 8 months straight, consistently. He messaged me every single day, religiously, every morning, every night. While I was in the process of moving from my sold property. This is a long story. I don't even think I can do this in one video because there's other people involved when it comes to my family that's involved, so it's long. So please bear with me, this is really not easy. I was planning to stay with a friend. Well, we was actually going to rent a property together, but he was staying with my neighbour at the time. My mum rang me up and asked if I wanted to stay with her. I don't really have much of a relationship with my mum, but I was in two minds about it. Something was telling me no, not to go, because I know that I just know we're not going to get on like in the same household. However, because we didn't have much of a relationship, I thought, well, maybe she's trying to make amends and do the right thing, and she offered to let me stay at her house. So I thought, alright, let me give her a shot and see if she's actually trying to get closer to me in as a mother and daughter relationship. So I ended up going to her house. I wasn't sure really what I was going to do. I wanted to buy a property, but I didn't know where. I moved from Stoke Newington down to West London, which is where she was, in Chiswick. While I was there, I was looking for a property. Now, within that, it was a month in, moving in with her, things didn't seem nice, comfortable. I didn't feel comfortable there, to be honest. I tried to make myself as comfortable as possible. I told her that, I look after her, she didn't have to worry about anything, blah, blah, blah. But within that month, she seemed very offish, very standoffish, quite moody at times. I told her that I'd take care of everything, you don't have to pay bills or anything like that, don't worry about it, because, obviously I've sold my property, so I've got enough funds to cater for everything, So it wasn't a problem at all on that front. She kind of shrugged her shoulders a little bit about it, giving me this offish energy. I had two dogs as well, They were with me. While I was there with her, she wasn't coming across like she really wanted me there. And there was a situation where an old friend that I've known from the States happened to contact me, and he came to London, so he rang me up and said he wants to meet up and, let's have a chat and whatnot. So that's exactly what took place. He came down, he come to see me, and I told him my situation, you know what I mean? And he says to me, like the seed in my head, he says, instead of looking for a property like you did before, why don't you think about expanding your horizons, sort of thing, and look for maybe land or a modular home or a holiday home or so forth. So I thought, what, that's not a bad idea, because it would work out cheaper as well. So I decided to do that, and I let my mum know immediately that what I'm going to do. I'm going to start looking for a modular home or somewhere that I can buy a holiday home from and stuff. I showed her websites that was going on and just keeping her in the loop so she doesn't, so she knows exactly what's going on. As time was passing, she was getting even more agitated that I'm not looking for a stable, like bricks and mortar home. She was making that really clear to me now with certain things that she was saying. And I says, Mum, look, I didn't ask to come here, you offered, right? You said she said I've got 3 months to find somewhere and, move out. No, this is a month in. So it's like she wanted to create an argument with me about what I'm doing. And I couldn't understand why she was doing that. So she was pushing my buttons all the time, and each day that went past, she was always saying, have you found something yet? Have you found something? Have you found something? Have you found something? And it was constant, and it's really irritating me. But I tried my best to stay away from her, stay away from the house. I was doing loans, collections at the time at residence homes in East London, which is in Stoke Newington End. So I stayed away from the house until night time as much as I could, just to keep away from her. I took care of my dogs, obviously. I came back during the daytime, took my dogs out for a walk and whatnot, and sometimes I took them with me back to East London, sorry. She created an argument with me. A really petty argument. It got really hostile. I felt so uncomfortable being there. She even managed to talk to the guy that I was actually talking to, in Jamaica. She managed to see who he was and stuff, and had a chat with him as well. And that even seemed to bother her that I was, I had a guy in my life, I could tell by her energy and the way she would say, little smarmy things. Anyway, there would come to a point where I really had enough of her, to be honest, and I wanted to get out of there as soon as possible. I know the Most High could feel that in my energy as well. And then before you know it, she created a situation where she wanted to have an argument with me. And I don't do arguments, I don't do confrontations, I'll have a debate, but I'm not gonna carry on with big arguments and stuff. I just don't do it, it's not me. But she was creating that scenario, and I just don't understand why she was doing this, So when she was creating this argument, it's like she couldn't remember what the things that she was saying. She was going round and round in circles, and I had to correct her on certain things. And in the end, I just said, look, she was sitting down on that bed, not even facing me. She couldn't even look me in the eyes when she was talking to me. It was all, side energy. Like, she was giving me this energy, and I'm full on. Just want to talk and just whatever it is that's bothering you, just tell me what it is. What have I done wrong? What's the problem? You know what I mean? So she couldn't really give me a definitive answer. So I said to her, look, it just seems like you've got some demons in the closet that you need to be dealing with, and I don't really want to have this conversation anymore. So we just leave it as it is. And because I left it as it was, I was ready to move. So I started to make arrangements to move out literally 3 days after. I think it was a Wednesday, and Saturday I was going to be arranged to be moved out on a Saturday. I managed to do all of that, and that was done and dusted. Now, I was moving from pillar to post, mate. Pillar to post. I went into 2 hotels. It cost me a fortune, and this was for at least 3 to 6 months. Then I moved into a property in Hemel Hempstead. Then I moved into a friend's house. Actually, I think it was a friend's house after. Yeah, sorry, it was a friend's house after hers. Then it was the hotels. Then it was a place in Detton Hill. And it was costing me a fortune, absolutely costing me a fortune. In the back of my mind, I was thinking to myself, I wonder if she's planned this. If this was her plan for me to end up losing a lot of money. But I just thought, you know what, I'll just carry on with life and just get on with it. So while I was at Detton Hill, I managed to find a holiday home in Chingford, and I bought that for £30,000. Moved into that property. This was in 2020. Was it 2020? Yeah, 2020. Yeah, March 2020. But there was something about that place I actually didn't like when I moved in there. It was very eerie. I didn't feel like people really liked me there, even though they were giving me the smiles and, you know, trying to welcome me into the place. But, you know, energy doesn't lie. Energy doesn't lie. So, but, you know, I was there and I just said to myself, I don't think I'm going to be here for very long. I don't know why. I just feel like I'm not. Anyway, during the COVID season and all of that, there was things that was happening to me. I started to lose my hair. My hair was breaking a lot, and I was losing my hair a hell of a lot during 2020, 2021 and 2022. And my eyesight started to fail as well. And given that I just got my private hire license to drive taxis, private hire, which is like cabs, right? My eyesight was 20/20 vision, and I've got the documentation to confirm that. So my eyesight was just, all of a sudden it was just blurry. I couldn't see very well. So I'm thinking to myself, what's going on? And not only that was happening to me, I mean, throughout my life, I've always felt really tired, like really tired, right? Drained every day. I wake up and I don't feel energized, I feel tired. But on this occasion, it was even worse. It was like I was proper drained, man. Even my body was like breaking down. My back was always aching. I've always had a back issue. I had the epidural with my son, and ever since then I've suffered with lower back pain. But it was even worse. It was getting worse and worse and worse. I was getting a lot of joint pain, a lot of inflammation in my body, and I was tired. Let me tell you, I was so tired I felt like I couldn't even drive, like, to go to work. I couldn't, and I was forcing myself. To do the work. Sorry about that. I had a bit of an interruption there. Anyway, so where was I? I got my private hire license and my eyesight was fading. So I was thinking to myself, what is going on with my body, man? What is going on with me? Something's not right. Something's not right, and I could feel something in the air. Something wasn't right. Something's not right at all. Anyway, I was due to go on holiday during 2020 and 2022, but I had to cancel my flight several times because of the COVID stuff. So I ended up going on holiday 2022, January, the end of January, to meet, to Jamaica, to meet my new guy. And when we first met, it was, to be honest, there was a connection between us, definitely. So when we met, it was lovely. It was really nice. It was so nice that he actually proposed to me on the first meeting. Now, I'm very free-spirited. I live in the moment. I don't judge anybody. I don't calculate anything. I go with the flow. I go with my feeling. And that's who I am, genuinely. When he proposed, he was half naked. Well, I think he was actually naked because I just come out the shower. He just come out the shower, from what I can remember. And he got on his knee and he proposed to me. So I said, yeah, well, it's only an engagement, isn't it? Nothing signed and sealed. So I said, yeah, all right, let's get engaged. I brought a lot of stuff over for us to share and enjoy the holiday. We stayed in a villa in Ucharias. And I was there for a month, I believe, and we had a great time. I picked up on something about him, about his energy. When I first met him, he seemed like moody, like just randomly moody. You know, I don't look into things too deep, but because I'm still getting to know him, so I'm still trying to get to know his character and so forth, you know what I mean? So I picked up on that with him, that he's got this moody energy, like he's miserable, right? But I let it go. Then there was a moment where we was in the villa at night, and there was a meow, and the door was shut in the kitchen, and I heard a cat meowing. So I went to go and open the door because obviously I love animals, and he stopped me. He said, "No, don't open the door." And I said, "Why?" He says, "Because, you know, sometimes the spirits and, you know, you just don't know." I'm like, I thought that was really strange for him to say something like that, but like, alright, okay. I noticed throughout the holiday, I couldn't sleep. I don't know why, but I couldn't sleep a lot of nights. Something in my energy wasn't right. Anyhow, we had the holiday and it was, you know, everything seemed alright. When I left, he even cried, right, at the airport. Second time round I went there, where did we stay? We stayed at his house in Portmore. I always get mixed up with Portland and Portmore. But anyway, we stayed at his house, and he started to show a little bit more of his true colours about his personality. He was a miserable man, right? I didn't understand why. But as I say, I don't judge anybody. I always give him a fair shake. And as time was going on, I was there for another month. I noticed that he would switch sometimes. You know, one minute he's really happy and, excuse me, and you know, he seems alright, and the next minute he's just switch and go into this low energy, moody, miserable, and lazy. He sprayed cars. He did that really well. He's very good at it. But I found that, you know, he just was not really proactive to do anything else. That's just like all he knows. He didn't seem very ambitious at all. Like he didn't want to, you know, going to be adventurous and try something new. So I kind of encouraged him to start his own business, you know, in panel beating with just spraying cars, and, you know, do something for yourself instead of working for another company, working for a company that he said he wasn't getting his full money for. He always complained and over the phone to me when I was in England, you know, that he was not getting paid enough, and he had an apprentice, which is his friend, and he would share half of his wages with his friend. So I was thinking to myself, well, that's like really nice of him to do something like that. So I'm thinking, at the same time, I was thinking to myself, I wonder if he's telling the truth. I wonder if that's really true. Like, but why would you need to lie about something like that? So, you know, as I say, I'm not judging. That's why I encouraged him to start his own thing, you know, start his own little business. Anyway, he didn't seem that, how can I say, interested in really doing that. I think he lacked a lot of I know he lacked a lot of confidence when it comes to doing something on his own, which is fine because, you know, you're stepping out of your comfort zone, so I understand that. But I said I was there to support you, even financially. Let me just put it on the table right now. I supported him financially right through the relationship. He never gave me a red cent, not a red cent. I paid for everything. But I was cool with that because at the end of the day, we're building a relationship. As I say, I was encouraging him to start his own business. And he was going to do that with the friend. The guy that he says that he gives half of his wages to. So I was helping him build something over there, and he started building it when I was in England. And when I came over there, I started to see, you know, I saw actually where the place was and where he was building it and everything. He had really started doing it. Anyway, that fizzled out, and nothing became of it. I didn't ask any questions because allow things to play out, allow people to be who they are, if you know what I mean. As time went on throughout that holiday, there was a moment in his house where I felt really lonely, and because of his energy, he wasn't showing me much love. He wasn't taking me anywhere. He wasn't proactive. He wasn't really giving me the sort of attention that, you know, someone that you just proposed to, as he should. So I was emotional and I cried, and he cried with me. I just said to him, I feel alone, I want to go home. I just want to go back to England. And that's the first time I've gone to Jamaica ever since I was probably about 8 with my grandmother. And I've never ever felt like I've wanted to come back to England. I've always cried when I've left Jamaica. I didn't want to come back to England, but on this occasion, when I was at his house, I felt like I wanted to come home. And that's rare, like, it was rare for me when I was feeling like that. So when he started to cry with me, it felt like, you know, he was, you know, being compassionate and sharing his feelings towards me, emotional feelings towards me, and I thought, alright, you know, everything was okay. After about 2 days, he went back into this moody energy and didn't want to, he was just off key, man, he was just off key, and I was trying my best to, like, stay in my positive energy and stay happy and enjoy myself, and, you know what I mean, just enjoy my holiday, you know. When I went back to England, he would come on the phone and say, oh, sorry babe, I'm sorry, you know, when you came over here I didn't do this and I didn't do that and I didn't do this with you and blah 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 blah. I'm like, it's alright, don't worry about it, it's all cool, no worries, it's all good. Now I'm logging everything in it. I watch everything, I pay attention, my database in my brain don't forget nothing, you know what I mean. So I just allow him to be who he is, you know. The third time round I went there, back to Jamaica. This time I went for actually 6 weeks, I think. And this time I met his mother. His mother came from the States, and I met his dad. I met his dad and his sister for the first time, and his brothers. I don't think his mum liked me. His sister, I'm not 100%. We got on. I'm very sensitive to energy. I can pick up on when somebody likes me truly, genuinely, from the heart. You know what I mean? Love me or like me enough. You know what I mean? So, you know, I just get on as you do. Where his sister lives is in Stony Hill, and it's a trek to get up the hill, mate. It's a workout, bro. It's up in the hills, yeah. They call it Stony Hill for a reason. Yeah? Anybody knows Stony Hill, they'll know exactly what I'm talking about. So you have to climb up the hill, right, to get up there. Anyway, when we got up there now, you know, his mum and his dad and everybody's there, and he then turned around. My ex-guy turned around and said, yeah, I'm thinking of building a house above my sister right there. Build a house. We didn't discuss where we was building. We was talking about building a property together, right? But we didn't say where. So when he said that, he said it in front of all of his family. I thought to myself, okay, you think you're smart. But again, I'll roll with it. I thought, all right, maybe he wants to just be near his family and it would be near his sister, innit? So I don't want to go and put the spanner in the works and say, well, I don't want to live here. You know what I mean? So I thought, okay, it is nice. The view is absolutely beautiful. I've got pictures, well, a few pictures I can share with you. And yeah, so he said he was going to build something up there. So I let that run. I let that roll. You know, took out his mum and his family in the car. I bought a car, a little Honda, nothing expensive, you know, $2.5 grand, you know, some old car, no big deal, just to get around because we was always paying for taxis. So drove him around in the car, and you know, we had a nice time. And again, during that holiday, when he was building up the house, he said he was building up the house. Where did we stay this time when we went? His house. So it was at his house still, yeah. It was at his house. And come back down from there, and again, his energy was off key, completely off key. And every time I was always asking, what's wrong, babe? What's wrong? What's the matter? You know, is it me? What's going on? No. But he was always complaining about things. Always complaining about his dad's not giving it. He didn't give him any money when he was younger, and you know, he never grew up with his mum. He's the youngest one in the family, and everybody, all of his brothers and his sister grew up with his mum, and he never got to grow up with his mum. And I'm thinking to myself, oh boy. Look, I can resonate because I never grew up with my mum or my dad, right? I never seen my dad, never. I think I've seen my dad when I was about 6, and as an adult, which was in 2020, when my son was born, which is 1996, somewhere there, once, and in 2020, I think, and that's it. That's about 3 times of my life. So I could resonate exactly with what he's talking about, right? And he knows that. I don't hide nothing. I share, you know, certain parts of my life. But he would complain about things a lot. Right. So I came back to England, right? Again, his energy was off key. So now I went back there again. This time I went there for 3 months. In 2022, January. I went there in 2018, 19, missed out 20, and then 2022 came along. 2022, now you've got to listen to this very carefully. Now, there was a lot of signs that I was getting about this guy, yeah? A lot of signs. Before I went to Jamaica in January 2022. When I got to the airport in Jamaica, I arrived there. I come out the airport and I see him where he doesn't see me. I see him clearly. He's about 30 feet away from me, maybe not even that. And I sat down on the bench and I was just looking at him. I looked at him, I looked at him, and I looked at him, and it's like this guy was like he wasn't here, like his brain was somewhere else, completely somewhere else. And I decided to get up and wave at him. Wave. I was waving like, hello, I'm over here. Over here. Nothing. It's like he was, I don't know, his brain was gone. He was in another world, like I say. So now I was thinking, hold on a minute, he really don't see me. So I had to get up off the chair and walk up to him and say, "Hi, babe." And he's like, "Oh, hi." And then he smiled and then gave me a kiss on the lips, thinking, something's not right. Something's not right. Like, what is going on? What is going on? What is going on? Anyway, got in the van. He didn't come in the car. So that's the first thing I said, "Where's the car?" There was always issue with the car, by the way. I was sending money down to get this car fixed. There was always an issue with the car. So I said to him, "Where's the car?" And he says, "Oh, there's something wrong with it. It's not running right. I can't really drive it much. Blah, blah, blah." And I'm like, "So why didn't you tell me this before?" And it's like he was vexed. It's like he was vexed. He was upset about something. Like, really upset. I'm thinking, right, what is going on with this guy, man? So he was moody right through, right all the way from the airport back to where he's started building the house, where his sister is, in Stony Hill. All this, throughout the time I was away from him, from 2020 to 2022, he was sending me pictures of his progression, building a house. To be honest, it wasn't as nice as I thought it was going to be. I wouldn't even say nice, it wasn't as big as I thought it was going to be. So I was actually a little bit disappointed with what I was seeing. However, I was very impressed the fact that he built it. I don't know if he built it literally on his own, but from what I gather, I would give him that grace and say that he did. So when I got up there, his sister said something which was quite poignant to me, and she said, "It seems like you love him more than he loves you." When she said that, he was making his way out with my suitcase to go in the house. He never said anything. And I thought to myself, well, she don't know me very well. I'm not somebody that falls in love. I've never been in love with a man. Never. I've cared about a man a lot. But I've never been in love with a man, and I can easily just walk away from any relationship when it's not serving me any purpose, or it's not going anywhere. You know what I mean? Detaching from things, people, places, whatever, is easy for me because I'm very adventurous. I like to live life in the moment. But that remark, stood out for me because I thought the same thing. Like, he didn't care about me. I just carried on as you do. So I was there for 3 months, as I say. During this 3 months, it was absolute hell. Let me tell you. Hell. Now, I was in my lower self, right? There's a south node and there's a north node. I'm in my north node now, which means I'm in my higher self. I'm in touch with my higher self. At that time, I was in my lower self. I was smoking weed and just always positive, but just not doing the things that I should be doing, that my creator wants me to be doing. Anyhow, I could see that this guy is just not the same guy I met. He completely has done a 360-degree turn on his energy. His whole energy has shifted completely. And I'm doing my best to look after him, feed him, buy shopping, making sure that we're all right in home, food-wise and that. Buying gas, you have to buy the gas cylinders. I bought the gas cylinders, pay for the water. Water's not regular in the place. Where he's built the home, it wasn't fully functional when it comes to the flow of water. So there's no taps kind of thing. Toilet, when you flush it, you have to put a bucket down it to flush the toilet. So there's no luxury going on here. It was literally countrified energy. Yeah, understand what I'm saying? So, as I say, I'm adventurous, so I just roll with the punches, innit? And just go with whatever. He come with this horrible energy and said to me, giving me this feisty energy, Like, so what you are doing? What you doing? What's going on? You want me to go out for work and look for work so we can make some money? Or you want me to stay with you for the whole holiday and you pay for everything for me? That's what he was saying to me in so many words, right? I said to him, you know what? Go out and work. Alright? Go and work. And make your money. So that's what he did. So, throughout the whole 3 months, he was meant to be working, right? For the whole 3 months, he never brought back nothing. I think it maybe 1 time, maybe 2 times, tops, that he came with any kind of money to help contribute to the household. He never brought nothing, yeah? Nothing. And he would leave from the house in the early morning from like 7 o'clock and don't come back until 8 o'clock at night. Man's coming with nothing. And when I first met him, he was super clean, sprucey up, always very materialistic guy. Like always the one I smell good, look good, clothes wise and everything, you know? And all of a sudden now, he ain't doing none of that. He's just looking rough, yeah? Rough. Don't care about his odor, washing and all of that stuff. To the point I'm thinking, you know what, I ain't laying down with you. Nothing ain't going on in the bedroom department, I tell you that, nah. Because you ain't washing, bruv. To the point I had to say to him, aren't you gonna wash? You've been out all day, supposed to be working, and you ain't wash yourself. You're not gonna wash. And he's giving me this, like, you don't really care. Cool. I still cook. I still clean. The house wasn't looking good, so I fixed it up as a woman would do, as wifey material would do, because I'm clean, I'm tidy, I like things in place, I like things in order. Even his niece had come up and said, and looked in the house and said, oh, you fixed up the whole house. Right, bear in mind, it's just a studio room. It's like a room, mini kitchen, bathroom, and a little balcony. So I done all of that, making the best of what we had. He didn't appreciate none of that. None of it. He never appreciated anything that I gave him. He barely said thank you for things that I did bring for him, especially on this last trip. I brought back even seeds, like for him to plant, because he likes to plant, you know, vegetables and fruit and so forth. So I brought enough of that, enough seeds, peppers and everything, yeah. He took all of that for granted. Anyway, something in my energy was telling me that there's something ain't right with this guy. I could feel it. It was undeniable that something was up. I read energy. I don't listen to what people have to say, because people can tell you anything. They can tell you any lies, sweet nothings, whatever. I don't listen to nothing. Okay? I read energy, as I say. The energy that I was reading was, this guy is up to something. Something's going on behind the scenes that I can't see. However, my creator can see. My ancestors can see. My ancestors can see. So it's alright. Whatever you do in the darkness shall come to light at some stage. So there was one day at night when he hadn't come home yet, and there was a peeny wali, which is a firefly, that came into the room. When I switched the light off, I saw it. It was flashing. I'm thinking, wow, there's a peeny wali in here. So I switched the light and I couldn't see it. I switched it off, then I saw it. Switched it on, couldn't see it. Switched it off, then I saw it and I'm thinking, wow, that's my ancestors. That is my ancestors. Now, I'm very spiritual. So the next day, and it's like this peeny wali, I felt like it was speaking to me. It was trying to tell me something. So the next day I spoke to his sister. I says, a peeny wali came in my room last night. What does that mean? I just wanted to get confirmation. She says, oh, your ancestors them come to see you and pay you a visit. I said, okay, I thought so. I just wanted to make sure. So that was my confirmation that I knew that was the case, yeah? Right. Bear with me, because there's a lot for me to remember to tell you. Okay, these are all signs from the universe that something is wrong. Something is up that I cannot see. So they're making me aware that something is wrong. There was 3 kittens that was born. His sister's got cats, about 4 of them. Tyler, Sky, Garfield and Cat. And Sky had 2 kittens. I named them Esther and Jacob. Esther was born first. She lived for about 3 weeks, maybe 5 weeks. No, not even that. And she was poorly. She was sick. She had a nasal problem. Like, she had a cold. Like, and it was raining a lot. A lot of rain was happening. And she passed away, even though I tried to keep her alive by feeding her milk. You know, I got a little bag and I filled it with milk, bought tuna fish and to feed the kittens and all the cats. And they would get food all the time. And they look forward to that. I put it on a little foil and they'll eat every day. He said to me, "Oh, I can't believe you're buying tuna for the cats." You know, in Jamaica, they don't really care about cats, like animals like that. You know, they're not like us in England or even the States or whatever. We love cats, animals in that way, and we take care of them, and they're house cats or whatever, yeah? So it was natural for me to do that. So this little kitten, she was poorly, man. At one stage, she was walking around and, you know, coming in the room and all of that, and he got upset. He got so upset that the little kitten was coming in the room. "No, she can't come in here. She can't come in here. Get them all. Get the cat them all. The cat, not even the cats could come in." What the hell is wrong with you, man? They're animals. You know? It felt like the cats couldn't believe that there was somebody like me that come along that wants to embrace them. Like, they want to be loved, you know? One time, Esther went underneath the bed and he went ballistic. He went absolutely apeshit to the point he lifted up that bed and trying to find her. I'm like, "Listen, leave her. I'll get her." So I took her out. She was always hiding underneath the bed because she loved it in there. She could hibernate in there and it was so sweet. So I would get her out and, you know, play with her and whatnot. And in the end, he had to accept that this is the way I am, right? And sometimes his energy would change sometimes and he'll be all right with it. And next minute he'll be turned into this demon again. In the end, you know, I tried my best to keep her alive. And one day she had a fit outside his sister's front door. And I came down and she was having a fit. I picked her up and gave her some water. And it's like she was reviving from it. You know, I was trying to give her milk and whatnot. And eventually she ended up passing away. I asked my ex-guy to bury her for me and tell me where you're going to bury him. Do you know what he done? He buried the cat and covered up everything because I wanted to put something in there for her, right? When she was buried. He covered her up and didn't even tell me. I says, where's Esther? Where's the hole? He said, "We bury her already, man. She bury her already." I'm like, "What?" I bawled into tears. I ain't gonna lie. I cried my eyes out. When she died, I cried my eyes out. When he did that, I just thought, you're a wicked soul, man. You're wicked, bruv. That's what I was thinking. You're a heartless man. So when he did that, my whole spirit was off of him, completely off. Like, if I had a plane outside that house, there and then, I would have gotten that plane and I would have gone permanent. Permanently, I would have been gone. Because that was it. That was it for me. Then, Sky had another baby, which was Jacob. Jacob didn't last 5 minutes. Literally. A week. He was sick. He was so tiny. I could put him in my hand like this. He was so tiny. And I tried to keep him alive. And I kept him at my bedside above my head. So I would be laying down. My head would be here and he would be right here. And I put him in a little tray. And while I was sleeping, that spirit woke me up out of my sleep. I went to check him. And he was breathing. But slowly, really slow. Now my heart was racing, and I got up out of bed and I picked him up and put him in my hand. And when I put him in my hand, he took his last breath and he was gone. And I cried. I cried so much. I cried so much. I've never cried so much until and when my grandmother was dying. That's the only time I ever cried. So much, but I was very emotional being there on this holiday. There was a lot of negative energy in the atmosphere. There was another kitten that was born. This was by another cat called Cat. She wasn't a friendly cat at all, but she started to warm to me a lot because, you know, I was feeding her as well. She would always stand from afar, but she would always come and eat. And she got closer to me, and she had a baby. That baby lasted a week, like literally, right? And before you know it, she was gone. Didn't even get a chance to really get to know the little kitten. Now all this was signs to me, right? 3 kittens dead in the space of weeks. These were signs, big signs. Another sign was there was dogs in that neighborhood that bark, and I mean they bark all through the night. Every single night, these dogs, and I'm not talking like 2, 3, 4 dogs, I'm talking enough dogs. It's just, there's stray dogs in Jamaica, right? They're just stray, so we don't even know where they are. Yeah, and I'm thinking to myself, am I actually gonna get any, because I'm a light sleeper, am I gonna get any sleep being up here? You know, eventually after a while I got used to it, and obviously I ended up sleeping, but it took a while for me to get used to it. And they would just bark and bark and bark. Now, that was another sign, because I was thinking to myself, there's some serious negative energies around here, man. It's like, it felt demonic. It felt like there's spirits around, you know? Why these dogs are barking? Because animals pick up on things, right? They pick up on spirits. They pick up on these things, yeah? The 3 cats dying. Dogs barking all night. I ended up buying a mirror in the store. And when I come back, the same day that I was cleaning that mirror, the mirror cracked and broke. That's another sign. Something is seriously wrong here. I was getting swellings in my body. That's never happened before as well when I was there in Jamaica. I've never ever had swelling. My feet were getting swollen up. I'm going to stop the video here and do another video, guys. Thank you for watching thus far. The next thing will be for me to tell you other signs.